Hey guys, this is Miss Smith. Welcome back to school. We're going to be learning about percent increase and decrease word problems. Okay, the first thing we want to know, we're going to do a KWL chart. I'm sure you've done these before. Okay, KWL. This means what we already know about percents because we've been working in my class, and I know you have Miss Grenades and Miss Hitchcock's. This is what we want to know. Okay, and this is what I've learned. Alright, we're going to kind of make a graphic organizer really quick about what we know about percents. Okay, let's draw a circle and write percents in here. Okay, so I kind of want to start out about things we know and then go from there. So the first thing we know about percents is if we see a percent and we see a total, we're going to do percent of a number, or I've been saying to my classes percent of a total. So if I have these two things, I'm going to change it to a decimal and multiply. Okay, we should know that by now. The other thing we've learned is part over total equals percent over 100. Okay, this is when I have a part and a total, but I'm missing the percent, and that's how I need to find it, by making a fraction to get to my percent. Okay, now the last thing you ever need to know about percents in 7th grade is percent, and we're kind of going to shorten this. Okay, percent increase by the up arrow, and percent decrease. Okay, you find these two ways the same way, and it's by using a formula. All right, now here's the thing, you know how to do percent of a total and percent, or part over total equals percent over 100. Okay, we should know how to do those. Now this one's a little bit tricky, that's why we waited so long to teach all this, because it's a little tricky, but I know we can do it today. Okay, so what we want to know, we want to know percent increase and decrease word problems. Okay, so we want to know how to find percents. Okay, now ask me, or let me ask you one question. How do we find percents? What gives us a percent? Okay, well, we either need a decimal to move it over by Dr. Pepper, or we need a fraction, correct? Okay, so we already know this first part, how to find percents. Well, we need a fraction, correct? Now, the only difference between finding a percent with a fraction is we have a formula to go with percent increase and decrease. So how to find percent of increase and decrease, okay? Because we already know how to find a percent, and that's from right over here, part of our total is to get a percent, right? Okay, in this section, I want you, this is going to be our warm-up for tomorrow, so I want you to tell me something you learned, and clearly you're going to be telling me on when you submit too, okay? But this part needs to be filled out after I get done with the video. Write something that you learned, okay? So in order to solve problems that deal with percent of increase or decrease, is we need to work with a formula. We need work with the formula for percent increase. Now I'm actually going to write it out instead of the arrows. Percent increase and percent decrease. Okay, so let's do this pretty fast. Percent increase and decrease. Now, of course, always, which you should know this by now, is we need to know how to change from fraction to decimal to percent. Okay, whatever they give us, we need to know how to get there. Okay, so we need to know how to convert, which you should know how to do. All right. Now, when a beginning and ending amount are given, and you're asked to find the percent of markup or percent of increase or decrease from the, from the ending amount, okay, and this will make sense in a minute, from the ending amount, oh, sorry, I need to start over. Okay, let me start over. When a beginning and ending are given, okay, we need to go from the beginning, clearly beginning goes first, amount to the ending amount. Okay, so this is what we need to know first. And then you need to use the formula. Now, this is so easy because if you just follow this formula every single time, you got it. Okay, it's called difference. If I can spell difference right. Difference, which means larger number minus the smaller number. Now, difference means subtract. So make sure you know the top number you're going to be subtracting to find that number. Okay, over the original number. Now, what's original mean? It means where we start. Okay, so our formula really is right here. Okay, difference over the original equals percent increase or decrease. You find the same thing to find both of these. Okay, so we're just using a formula. Now, one thing that you've got to know is we don't want negatives. So no matter what two numbers you're using, the larger one always goes first. Okay, and then minus smaller. We do not want any negatives. Okay, now here we go. Suppose the average attendance at a local high school's football game went down, okay, let's think in our head, are we doing percent increase or decrease? Probably decrease, right? Okay, since we see the word down. From 2,000 people to 1,500 or 1,500, okay? So it went down from 2,000 to 1,500 in 2 years. What is the percent, what do you think, increase or decrease? Very good, decrease, because it said the word down. Down always means, you're going lower, okay? The solution to this problem begins by finding how much the decrease was by subtracting the larger number from the what? Good, smaller number, okay? Now, the only two numbers they give us here, well, 2 years, but that's extra information. We don't really need to know that. But the two numbers it gives us is 2,000 and 1,500. So we're going to subtract those two numbers. Now remember, we do not want any negatives. So this is done by taking 2,000 minus 1,500 and you get 500. Okay? Now remember, the bigger number, okay, 2,000 in this case, is always first. Okay? Always. We do not want a negative number. All right? So in this case, if you were in my class right now, what have we gone over and over? Okay, if it's asking the percent, we want part over total equals percent over 100, right? Because what we know is you can't multiply percent of a total if you don't have the percent, right? So we're looking for the percent. Now, this is asking specifically for percent decrease, though. This is where it becomes a little tricky. So if you know this part, you can say, okay, well, now I need to do the formula to get to part over total. Okay, so the amount of decrease is 500. The difference is going to be your numerator. Okay, can you tell I haven't done a flip video? My handwriting's horrible. Okay, which is the numerator. Okay, of course, hint, difference over original. Oops, not number, numerator. Okay, so now we create a fraction, okay, with the formula difference over original. Okay, the denominator, because we're trying to do a part over total here, okay, the denominator is the original number, okay, is the original amount. So what do you think the original amount was? Okay, it went from 2,000 to 1,500, so which one do you think? Okay, to find the original amount, you need to figure out by reading which number is the starting point. Okay, which number is the starting point? Where did we start from? Okay, not necessarily is always the first number. You got to read it very carefully. In this case, it is though. Okay, in this problem, it is 2,000. Okay, then once you have your fraction, okay, of course, once we get a fraction, we always can get to a percent. You change it to a decimal by dividing top dog in the house dot 0 dot to change to a percent. Okay. Now, this might seem a little confusing right now because there's a lot of stuff on this page, but let's go to the next one and try another one. Okay? Now, okay, so let's try this one. All right, so let's see. Okay, now we create, hold on, let's see. Is this the same one I just did? Yeah. Okay, so down, went from 2,000 to 1,500 people. Okay, what was the percent decrease? All right, now I forgot to put this slide on here. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to work out the problem. Oops, I put an extra 0. Okay, 2,000, because it's bigger, minus 1,500. Okay, this is my starting point. My numerator is the difference between these two. Okay, so what's my original number? Well, we decided earlier it's 2,000. So what is 2,000 minus 1,500? Okay, very good. It's 500 over 2,000. Now, what can I do? Okay, I have a fraction. So fraction I can always change to percent. Now, my hint to you is let's reduce these zeros first. Let's take those zeros off. So now we have 5 over 20. Now, my class, and Miss Hitchcock and Miss Grenade should know or classes should know too, I can do this two ways. I can divide, top dog in the house, dot 0 dot, and then get a decimal and change it to a percent. In this case, I know that 20 times 5 is 100. Whenever I have 100 on the bottom, I have my percent. So what's 5 times 5? Okay, 25. All right? So the conclusion is that football attendance decreased by 25% in 2 years. Okay, so my goal is to get a percent just like part over total equals percent over 100. I just have one more step, which is getting the difference first. Okay, now this one. Only have two more, bear with me. Okay, Miss Smith went to Charming Charlie's, my favorite store, and noticed that a necklace she loved went up in price. Are we going to do percent increase or decrease by this keyword? Very good, increase, okay? Which we do the same thing, just in the end you say percent increase. Okay, so the price went up in price. The price went from $5, okay? The price went from $5 to $7, okay? What was the percent increase, which we determined from up, right? Which it doesn't matter, it's the same formula. Okay, the difference. Which one's my bigger number? 7, so it has to go first. You never want a negative, so always the bigger number minus the smaller. So 7 minus 5 over, where did we start from? If the price went up from $5 to $7, okay, our starting point is $5, okay? It just happens to be the first number we see, which, perfect, okay? So now 7 minus 5 is 2, and then, of course, you just keep the bottom number. Once we subtract, then we're good. So 2/5. Now I have part of our total, and I know Miss Hitchcock is really doing this one more, and now I need to find a percent, so part of our total equals percent over 100. Okay, see how we only have one step, and then we do the exact same thing you know how to do. So now, of course, you can divide, but this one is easy, so 5 times 20 is 100. So 2 times 20 would be 40%, what? Increase. Very good. So I'm looking for a percent, so it's always ending up in fraction, and I get a percent this way. Okay, and I just put increase because it's talking about percent increase or decrease. Okay? All right, last one. Here we go. Okay, Cindy bought a shirt for $25. Okay? So Cindy bought a shirt for $25. Katie bought a shirt on sale a week later for $15. Okay? Okay, what percent, can you tell I have not done this in a while. What percent did Katie save buying the shirt on sale? Okay, let's think about this problem for a second. If Cindy bought a shirt for $25 and then 1 week later she bought it for $15, so where are we starting from? Okay, we started at $25, and you know, after Christmas they have sales. Well, maybe this place had a sale and she went back after Christmas and got it for less. So if we start from a bigger number and then go to a smaller number, what are we doing here? Let's circle. Do you think it's percent increase or percent decrease here? Okay, I agree with you. It's percent decrease because it's going from a bigger number to a smaller. And of course, we always set it up like this, so bigger number minus smaller number. Okay, now what was my original price? Where did we start from? Very good, 25. Okay, so we started from 25. Now, we got to find a percent, so I need a part over total. But first, I have to subtract. So it's 25 minus 15 would be 10, correct? Okay, over 25. Now, of course, you always divide if you have a weird number. But in this case, I can do part over total equals percent over 100 by getting to 100. So 25 times 4 gives me 100. So 10 times 4 would give me 40%. Increase or decrease? Decrease, because that's what the problem was asking for. Okay? So guys, the main thing about this is once you get right here, you know how to do this. Okay? Either you divide top dog in the house, dot, 0, dot, or you get to 100 and then that's your percent, because you always want to end up having a percent. Okay? And so all you do is follow this formula and take the numbers and plug them in and you got it. Okay? Now, we're done. Scroll down right now, answer the questions, and press submit. It is your responsibility or you do not get credit and you have to watch it in class while we do other things. Okay? I'm doing this on Saturday, and so we have one more day of break, and then I will see y'all on Monday, and y'all be watching this Monday night. Okay, y'all have a good night. Bye.